Hey everybody, and welcome back to yet another World of Warships video. And yes, I know it's the Warspite yet again, but bear with me on this one because I think it's actually worth it. So, in this video we actually have it's my best ever game of World of Warships, I would say. And well, I think it best showcases also how to use this ship. It's a very interesting ship, which has very good attributes at both close range and far range, and yet there's a wide range of different ways you can use the ship, and every way has its own benefits, and you have to be able to mix all together to really get the best out of the ship. But really it's all down to just how you set up your ship and how you really use it. And this game shows best, I guess. So, to start with, our Ranger is launching his fighters, clearly in Air Supremacy Ranger, which is good. The game is very even. Our team has one destroyer, which the enemy team has none, which is quite an advantage, to be fair, and we're going to be seeing more of that destroyer later, actually. Yeah, the battleships are a very even fight. We have a Colorado, they have a Nagato, and you know, we've got two new mechs in me and a Warspite. They've got a new mechs Arizona, you know, so basically another new mechs. Dunkirk versus me, and then Congo versus Koenig. The cruiser fight is very fair, and I guess the way we all move out is very even as well. So the majority of our force is going south towards sea. And we're now beginning to spot some of their force, but most of their force is also heading south, so I'm feeling pretty confident about this. Our Pensacola is now heading towards A, however he's being cautious as there is two enemy battleships in that area which could very easily delete him. And Nicholas is steaming towards A to assist, and I will be joining them there. Our carrier's aircraft are actually beating out the enemy currently, and his bombers are having a field day around B, just looking for a nice target of opportunity. So I put my spotter plane here as the Warspite actually has quite a bad issue with range. However, the spotter plane does resolve that, and it also provides quite a good platform for attacking smoke-hidden vessels, but we don't actually need to do any of that this game. So I put my spotter plane, and not a bad salvo into the Dunkirk, although if I'd aimed a bit lower I'd have done much better. I now swap target onto the Arizona, however, as the Arizona is heading still towards me and providing a much better flush side. As the guns now load, I immediately fire off, just giving a little bit of time just to make sure I'm aimed in the right place. Something I've been doing a little bit more now, trying to improve my aim, and it seems to be working. A bit high again, but dealt damage, and dealing damage is good. It's still quite early in the game. I've dealt 6,000 damage, and that Dunkirk seems to be now aware of me being here and pulling back a bit. So our team is being a bit slow around C. Although we have the advantage because we have A capped, they aren't really pushing into C, meaning the enemy are beginning to push them back, and considering the amount of forces we have around C compared to them, that's a bit worrying. The enemy Arizona is now backing up, providing yet more of a target to me. However, I'm currently undetected, so it gives me a chance to prepare and then just fire at a nice broadside Arizona. Shells out now, heading towards the target. I have had a few questions about the mods I'm using, by the way. I'm currently using Aslan's mod pack, and I'll probably link it in the description for you if you are interested in looking into it. The mods in it are all confirmed to be legal, and if you don't believe me, there is a forum post about that as well you can look up. But The main reason I use these mods is with me being a returning player to World of Warships, having not played for a while, it's quite useful just to quickly glance at stats which most people would already have in their memory. So I'm now entering A, and the enemy Dunkirk has begun to come back. So currently they outnumber us in ships up towards A, however they're being very passive really. Our Pensacola's firing some HE towards the Arizona as well, however he's trying to get into cover. I fire another salvo at the Arizona, hoping to try and deal some damage, as even though he's now entering cover, he still has a nice flat broadside towards me. However, at this point I begin to push forward now to support our Nicholas and Pensacola against this Dunkirk, as the Dunkirk is a threat to all three of us. I'd also like to point out, however, that having lost our Colorado, we are now at quite a disadvantage, and we're now just fallen behind in points. We've now lost another ship. We've lost our Algier, our French Tier 7 heavy cruiser, which really puts us into a disadvantage now. Our south flank is completely collapsing, and they've contributed nothing really beneficial as of yet. The Dunkirk fires one of his turrets towards me, however he falls short, which is good. However, at the angle I was at, he would have probably demounced anyway. I now swap my target to the Emil Bartan, as even though the Dunkirk is still a threat, he's now pulling back and in cover towards me. The Emil Bartan, however, then turns and gives me a nice broadside, however I am slightly too high. That seems to be a bit of a recurring pattern with me. The Emil Bertan continues to now try to flee, realising that he's in over his head as the Dunkirk has very little health remaining. I glance at the Dunkirk, but he's still way out of my line of sight, so I take a nice shot at, yet again, a broadside Emil Bertan. Hopefully this time we can punish him for it, however. The Arizona has now reversed up and is in line for... Oh, that was a nice broadside on him, leaving him with very little health remaining. 6 penetrations in a citadel. At this point I begin to bring the guns around towards the Arizona, wondering if I can get some shots into him, as clearly he's posing a threat to our ships retreating from the south. However, realising he was still just into cover, I swung the guns back around towards the Emil Bertan, hoping to finish him off. That was quite unlucky on my part, as that really should have finished him off. However, I aimed a bit too low and the shells missed. However, his return fire misses also, so it's not as bad as it could have been. At this point I still have 4 HP, however, having already dealt 55,000 damage. That puts me into quite a stronger position. However, if you look at the scoreboard now, we finally have one of their ships sank, the Dunkirk, yet we've lost 4 of our own ships. The enemy team have a 90-point lead over us, however we do still control A while they control no capture zones as of yet. Their Arizona is however pushing into B. Not only is he beginning to threaten our force that's retreating, but he's beginning to capture the area. So I decide to focus fire on him and take him out so he can't deal any more damage to our team. At this point, the Emil Bartan sets me on fire. However, I don't feel confident on his ability to continue to keep me aflame, especially at this range, so I decide to pop my repair. The Warspite actually has a cruiser repair, meaning although it's activated for a much shorter amount of time, it's also off cooldown much faster, so this isn't as much of a risk playing ships like the Warspite as, say, a New Mexico, where you've got a long duration damage control, and then all of a sudden your damage control is on cooldown for much longer. Another salvo towards the Emil Bertan, however, yet again that one misses, going and straddling both sides of his ship. Yet again, quite unlucky, however, I'd take what gets given to me, I guess. At this point, I'm continuing to push him. However, there is a Koenig pushing through the islands just to my right. I decide to fire one last salvo, hoping to finish off the Emil Bertin. However, I don't aim anywhere near forward enough, meaning these shells will miss. I now begin to swing my guns and bounce around towards the Koenig, so I can bounce the shots off him before giving him some return fire. The shells from the Koenig hitting me now, most of them bouncing, however one dealing damage, probably hitting my superstructure. However, now my guns are reloading, it's time to have some payback, I guess. I'd say that was a very fair trade. He did 1,000 damage to me, however we took 10,000 health away from him. Bouncing yet more of his return fire. He is reversing back, trying to get the island between us, however I'm going to continue to push him. Our Congo is now streaming from the force that went to the south, heading straight towards us. Personally, I'd have much preferred him to stay south and help try to take out that Nagato for the team, however he seemed adamant on coming to support me. My secondary guns begin to open up towards the Koenig, lobbing some shells over the island while others hit the islands, scoring yet more consistent damage against the Koenig. Meanwhile, he still dealt hardly any damage to me in return. And Nicholas comes round to fire some torpedoes towards the Koenig as well, trying to assist me. However, at this point I'm really not worried about the Koenig. I feel like at this point he's already more than dead. Torpedoes just missing the Koenig, I take out yet more of his health, while he's still struggling to deal damage to me. Now my secondaries are beginning to score hits as I get around the island, and he is left with nowhere to go. The Congo also opening fire into the side of the Koenig. That was quite a nasty chunk of damage I just took, as I pushed a bit too close. However, at this point I felt comfortable getting this close, as I felt I could dispatch of him in one shot. I didn't quite do that, however, leaving him on low health, and the Congo managed to get the kill with fire. At this point there is a Fiji showing me a nice broadside, however my guns are still reloading. Bit unfortunate, however that would be a very nice paddling if my guns were loaded. However, as my guns now load, he, well, disappears. Damn cloaking devices. At this point I decide we're capturing B, and the Nagato isn't focusing on me. I'm going to swing around and go towards that Pensacola and take out that Pensacola, while showing a angled stern of my ship towards the Nagato and Fiji. I am currently actually quite exposed. I fire one salvo towards the Fiji, hoping to dissuade him. However, I end up missing him and hitting the Nagato, possibly angering the Nagato, but I feel comfortable and begin to push against the Pensacola. My secondary guns opening up and getting a few hits against the Pensacola. I now begin to finally get my armor angled towards the Nagato behind me. A nice salvo there, hitting the stern of his ship and penetrating straight into his citadel, leaves him on extremely low health, and my secondary guns continue to open up in his general direction. I think it's worth noting, however, that it seems odd that the secondaries of this ship are about as accurate as an American with a blunderbuss, you know, trying to hit a barn. You're probably going to hit the house next to the barn, but you won't hit the barn. And I think that also goes quite synonymous with a lot of their tanks as well. That's why rifled guns are so much better, guys. So now I begin to swing my guns around towards Nagato. I have an island between me and him, however it's not tall enough to block shots. I am at risk here, however nobody is currently targeting me as of yet. although now they are beginning to target me. It's likely he was targeting either the Congo or the Nicholas, hoping to finish either of them off while they were on low health. At this point, we are in the lead as we own A and B, however, the scoreboards show a bit of a different story as, well, we have 4 ships, one of them being our Nicholas and extremely low health. Also, I'm the only battleship left on our team, while they have 2 battleships and their aircraft carriers still remaining in the fight. At this point, this Nicholas actually makes a play which quite possibly saves me and has quite a big impact on how the game continues to play out into the end of the game now. So, the Nicholas pops his smoke screen, which provides plenty of cover for me, and he smokes the channel between the islands. The Emil Bartan begins to open fire with HE from the island over there, and I begin to prepare to slow down to enter the smoke screen. There is a change coming to smoke screens actually very soon, which to be honest I'm not really in favour of. However, there are plenty of other people more qualified than me to talk about it, so I'll leave it to them to talk about. And Nicholas there getting taken out by an Atlanta, which tells me 2 things. 1, there's an Atlanta coming towards me, and 2, there's a lot of ships in that direction coming straight into B, so we're now losing B and we're down another ship. I decided to slowly come out of the smoke screen just to spot the Emil Bertan before reversing back into the smoke screen, hoping to get a nice salvo away from him and dispatch at least one of the enemies I'll have to deal with. He's much closer than I expected, however, so I swung the guns around and get ready to fire a salvo towards him. The archaic turret reverse times showing themselves here. I also take a salvo from behind, which I believe to be the Atlanta hitting me, and yep, seeing it now, it is definitely Atlanta firing at me. So the Atlanta is coming around, so I've decided to reverse out of the smoke screen and get to the other side, hoping to do the same to him. However, the smoke screen begins to fade at this point. My AA gun trying to take down one of the Rangers fighters. Smoke screen fades, exposing the Atlanta extremely close to me. All my secondary guns open up in his direction and I swing the guns around. However, I aimed slightly too far forward really. I was hoping to hit him in the Citadel, but aimed way too far forward. This is going to cost me a little. My secondary guns continue to pepper him as the Confederate achievement is awarded to me. Realising the torpedoes coming towards me, I decided to turn towards them, wondering the angle he's fired them at, but realising they're nowhere near me, I then turn in towards the channel. I am in danger here as he could have torpedoes loaded to fire into the channel, depending on which side those torpedoes will launch from. However, I feel confident enough to tank at least one torpedo. Dealing more damage to the Atlanta, however, still failing to kill him off. I decided to see if I could get the other guns around in time, however, well, I miss. That is also going to cost me quite a lot. I popped my heal, trying to get some more of my health back now to keep me in the fight, because at this point we're 3 ships versus 5. Still failing to dispatch of that Atlanta, however that is going to continue to cost me. However, at this point I decided to change my fire onto the New Mexico, hoping either my teammate in the Emerald or my secondary guns will finish off the Atlanta. My secondary guns there, hitting and finishing off the Atlanta, means now I can focus all my fire onto this New Mexico. New Mexico pushing towards me, I deal consistent damage to him while he still struggles to do much damage to me. More torpedoes from the Atlanta passing there, right? However, nowhere near close enough to be of much concern. At this point they do control 2 of the capture zones and are capturing a 3rd, however, seeing the time is 20 seconds left, I decide I just need to dispatch this ship as fast as possible. Achieving the high caliber award there, continue to dispatch the New Mexico, doing 15,000 damage to him, meanwhile he's only dealt 6,000 to me. Now upping my damage to 25,000, 26,000 damage against him, however the time now runs out. How sad. So had I managed to deal the Atlanta first, I honestly feel like that could have been a Kraken with that one last salvo, however, sadly it was not to be.